Okay, so next we're going to move on to the burns, and to do that I'm going to use some Kryolan Gel Effect Skin. Now this is a gelatin, so what you'll need to do is you'll need a heat-proof bowl and a microwave, and just pop it in for about 10 seconds until it's fully melted. Be very careful when you take it out of the microwave, it may be a bit hot, you don't want to burn yourself. So what I've done is I've cut up some blocks of gelatin, and I've just popped them in the microwave for about 5 to 10 seconds, so just until you've got it liquid. And then I have just tested it on my hand very quickly to see what the heat is, and it's okay. So I'm going to use a spoon just to pop it on the face. Very simple. You can just stretch it and dab it and just create all sorts of shapes to get your burn. Gelatin will set once it cools down, so just make sure you get to do what you want to do with it before it does. You can see it's getting quite tacky. And don't worry if it sets in your heat-proof dish, you can just pop it back in the microwave if you wanted to create a bigger effect. So as you can see, that doesn't take long. Once it cools down, it goes hard again. So what you need to do is, before you put any sort of colour on it, you just need to make sure it's not tacky anymore. So this bit down here is fine, it's just this up here. So if I start down the bottom here, and I'm going to use 2 bend nye wheels, 1 bruise wheel and 1 cuts and burns. So I'm going to use a mixture. What I want to use primarily in this one is the red and yellow, and this one I'm going to use the dark red. I'm going to start off just with a little bit of the plain red, applying it quite thinly. You don't want to go over the top with it. So once I'm happy with this shade of red, I will move on to the darker one, and this is just to add a little bit of depth to what you're doing. So again, you don't want to use too much, just try and use it in select places. So once I'm finished with the reds, I'm just going to get a clean brush and I'm going to use the yellow. And I'm only going to use a very little bit, and I just want it to pick out on some highlights on the burn. Now the last thing I'm going to do before I put any sort of blood or anything on this is I'm going to use some black grease, and this is a Ben Nye product again, and I'm just going to go into the bits like this where it's really kind of looks very deep. So just going to go in here, just want a tiny bit, and you can go over, just blend it a little bit and make the skin look a little bit charcoaled. And this you have to just be really sparing with. If you go over the top, it won't look very realistic. So there we go. Okay, so for the last bit, I am just going to get some of our Ben Nye stage blood. I'm going to use a brush. I'm just going to dab it on in certain places. And then spread it out with my finger. And that's burns and bullet wounds. If you've got any questions, we have got Backstage Shop website. They've got an email address and a phone number. If you'd like to ask any questions about the products, please do.